Hi guys, William here. We're going to be recording early next week for the price, so if you'd like to get your feedback in, try and get it in by Wednesday, August 26th. Alright, thanks guys. Hello everyone, welcome to the Angel Rewatch, a spoiler-free retrospective podcast on Angel. I'm William.
And I'm Derek, and this is a podcast for Double or Nothing, originally airing April 22nd, 2002, written by David Goodman. Gunn, Fred, and Lauren are sorting through Wesley's papers, going through his old case files, trying to decipher any of it. Cordelia and Gru are finally back home, and when she comes in, she immediately knows something is wrong. Angel's upstairs staring at Connor's empty crib. With tears in her eyes, Cordelia comes up behind him and tells him that she's sorry. At a casino, Janoff, a demon that looks suspiciously like Evil Doyle, shows up. Janoff tells his Cockney assistant, who looks like some kind of shark or fish thing, that they need to go see quote-unquote him, and hands the shark man an Angel Investigations business card. Fred goes to see Wesley in the hospital and goes all Scar from the Lion King on him. Wesley needs to leave and never return to Angel Investigations or the hotel, or Angel will kill him. She also tells him that the prophecy was fake, and Connor was never in any real danger. Gunn goes to kill a demon, and while he's in the sewer, the demon Fishy Man shows up at the hotel. He mistakes Gru for Angel, but the demon Fishy Man ends up in the sewers anyway to meet with Gunn. He tells Gunn it's time to pay his debt, and then we switch to a scene that has a do-rag and Gangster's Paradise playing, so we know that it's a flashback. Gunn sold his soul for something in a picture. Fishy Man tells Gunn that they know he's ready to give his soul to someone else because he's in love with Fred. And that's a problem because Gunn's soul is no longer his to give. Gunn needs to pay up, and soon. Gunn comes back to the Hyperion pouting, and Cordelia immediately notices that something is wrong. She thinks he's guilty over being happy with Fred. Cordelia tells him to take the day off and spend it tomorrow with Fred because it went so well when Cordelia took a vacation. That was sarcasm, by the way. Anyway, Angel's upstairs still sitting, staring at the empty Connor crib, and Cordelia watches. And finally Angel begins to talk. It's all painful and beautiful and depressing, and he talks about how Connor was finally his future, and now he doesn't know where to go anymore. And I don't want to talk about it. Fred and Gunn then have a big happy day together, but halfway through, Fred is tired. She tells Gunn that maybe they should stop for the day because there's always tomorrow. Gunn darkens at this and begins to freak out. So naturally decides the best thing to do is to break up with Fred in the most cruel and unconvincing way possible, and she completely buys it. Or at least until the next scene where she comes back to the Hyperion and tells them they have to save Gunn because something is clearly wrong with him. Duh. Angel, determined not to lose another of his family members, rallies the troop and devises a search party. Gru then pipes in and says they can leave little white rectangles along the way. So apparently Gru knows Hansel and Gretel, but not business cards. He pulls out Janoff's white rectangle, and Angel realizes where they have to go. Gunn is ready to give up his soul to Janoff, but Angel and Gru arrive just in time. Angel makes a deal with Janoff. He challenges the demon to a card game. If Angel wins, Gunn goes free. If Angel loses, Janoff gets Angel and Gunn's souls. Fred is worried that this stupid plan is stupid, but Angel and Cordelia overrule her. Angel hands Cordelia a steak and tells her she knows what to do and to do it quick. Janoff and Angel sit at the card table, and after a lot of close-ups and dramatic looks, Angel loses big time. So Cordelia stakes Janoff in the hand and Angel chops off his head. Gunn thanks, but it takes a lot more to kill off Janoff than that, and a new head appears that looks nothing like the old one. While Janoff is screaming, Angel gets the crowd to turn on the demon. Beheading apparently won't kill Janoff, but a horde of pathetic punches will do the trick. Gunn tells Fred that he's sorry and reveals what he sold his soul for. His truck. The truck saved his and his friends' lives many times over when he was younger. He thinks it's stupid, but Fred disagrees, and then they tell each other they love one another. Angel is staring at the crib again. Cordelia opens the door and watches him. Slowly, Angel begins to take apart the crib. Cordelia closes the door, her vigil is over, and Angel is finally moving on. And that's the end of the episode.
Okay, so I think this is the best gun-centric episode we've had. I don't think that's saying anything.
No, saying nothing. I might... okay. I might agree that it is the best gun-centric episode overall. I think this might be the worst gun story in a gun-centric episode because I really hate the gun story in this episode. Everything that is not about gun, soul BS, I find to be very good. Anything that is about that whole casino storyline and the fact that they cannot tell any stories with Gunn that do not surround his past. It's not good. I don't like it.
I guess that's true. I think the reason why I'm okay with them keep exploring his past is because they haven't done it well enough yet.
Well, that could be exactly why I'm not okay with keep exploring it, because they keep failing and doing it, so.
Double or nothing.
Well, didn't work out for Angel, and it didn't work out for this episode in terms of Gunn. I really don't like the Gunn storyline.
See, I don't mind it. Partially because I liked Gunn and Fred's interactions early on.
Sure. Sure, before it gets into that stupid breakup scene.
Okay, well, we'll get to my problems with the episode, and in particular that scene, but the two of them together has been working for me.
No, they are cute, and it's nice, and whatever.
But I guess the last act of this episode, for me, was kind of like the show's ability to start moving on from Connor, like the sigh of relief we can have fun again, which I thought
okay.
I thought would be a problem. Like,
yes, you did feel that would be a problem,
but there was something genuinely fun about how ridiculous, like, the card game and how they were trying to play up the drama, but I was literally laughing to the resolution of that. And so it was nice to, the whole life moves on thing, that they would still do these cases of the weeks. I actually ended up coming around to this episode pretty well.
Okay, well, yeah, I really like the Connor, Angel, Cordelia stuff, and even when it's talking about Connor and Angel moving on and the Wesley situation and all that, I think it's really good. I think this is Gunn's episode, and I find him to be the least interesting part of it. And that therein lies my problem with the episode.
Okay.
But I really, really do like all that. I think this is better dealing with Connor's kidnapping than last week.
Yeah,
by quite a large margin, I actually think. If it was just that, I mean, I would be very positive about this episode, but it is not, and it is supposed to be Gunn's episode, and I really don't like the Gunn story. So
what in particular is really throwing you off? I know that
you want to just get into it, because I'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, let's.
Okay, well, number one, the fact that we go back to his backstory, which only seems to matter for Gunn's character when they need to do a Gunn episode. Otherwise, it doesn't factor into him at all. But if they need to do a Gunn-centric episode, we have to talk about how Gunn used to be on the streets and blah, blah, blah. Then the other thing that bothers me about it is that there's this real kind of negativity to Gunn's past, which is just beginning to irk me because while it was implied or just basically said that Gunn was low-level criminal thief or whatever, there's just this embarrassment about who Gunn used to be, and honestly, he wasn't a bad guy. He was the leader of a group of teenagers who were trying to survive and didn't know how else to do it, but the Angel seems to think that he has some kind of pathetic past, which is just beginning to irk me.
Angel the show or Angel
the show?
Okay.
Angel the person is kind of oblivious to everything that's going on that's not Connor,
right.
Which I thought was a nice joke. Anyway, thirdly, I hate the breakup scene so much because Fred dissolves into a puddle of tears, and that is not the same character who went to Wesley's hospital room and told him that you effed up and we all hate you now, so never come back. And then because the episode decides that she needs to have some kind of agency or whatever, she needs to move the plot along, that she realizes that Gunn was acting crazy. So then we move on to that, which she should just realize that Gunn, if they are trying to sell us on the idea that they're in love, she should know immediately that he is acting weird and not buy into any of his cruel breakup speech and try to just continue to get him to talk to her. And he won't talk to her, and fine, that's whatever. But the fact that she dissolves into a puddle of tears and talks about, is there another woman, just is ridiculous to me.
Okay,
I think that's it.
Okay, the breakup scene is obviously very problematic. I hate that, the way it turns. I don't mind the concept of him, because many shows pull this whenever, like, oh, I've got to be self-sacrificing, I have to keep her away from danger, so I'm going to break up with her, blah, blah, blah. It's stupid.
I hate them in all of them.
Yeah, me too. But
you are right that it is not a terrible idea.
Right. But the moment it turns... Basically, if Fred the entire time was like, I know you're lying, this isn't you, blah, blah, blah.
Well, she starts off like that.
I know. Like, the beginning of the breakup, I don't have a problem with. It's literally when it's like, is there someone else? Like,
it's that, and it's that he insults her. It's not like they've ever implied that Fred has some kind of low self-esteem or body image, which is what they seem to imply in this, that he tells her that she's not a real woman, and that just destroys her, and that there's someone else, and that's just so stupid and dumb, and I hate it, and I don't like it, and shame, ding shame. I don't know. It's dumb, and I don't like
it. Is dumb, but I actually found the Fred explaining to the group that Gunn's in terrible danger pretty funny. I mean, you alluded to the joke of Angel going, wait, the two of y'all are dating? Which was really funny. And I like everyone else, like, not believing her. I thought they did a pretty good job of that.
Well, Cordelia doesn't believe her. Actually, we might as well talk. I really, really love Gru in this episode and his reactions to just things in general. The way he, like, when they're planning things out and he, like, nods and he's just really into it. And then we can, it is dumb that he says why he thinks they need to leave white rectangles is stupid, but the fact that he doesn't know what a business card is, and he's had the clue, the central clue that they've needed all along. He just brings it out, and that there's no need for this rigmarole of searching things. Gru just has it, and he's so eager to help. He's a human puppy dog.
He reminds me of, I was recently watching Friends, and there's this episode where Joey is always oblivious to the rest of the group's conversations, where he just nods along and feels really embarrassed about it. And that's all I could picture him. Yeah,
I really do like Gru in this episode. He gives a lot of humor that's needed, because it's not a fun time.
No, it's not. And I think the episode surprisingly had enough humor with the Gunn storyline that helped to help balance the episode. Because honestly, I don't know if I could have stand this episode. Well, I mean, I guess it's not true. I probably could have, but it would have been really, really dark for many episodes, even leading up into this point. And if we didn't have something to kind of lighten, to have light
to counterbalance Angel and his. I actually really like. There's a Paleo word for vigil of the morning, or morning vigil.
Yeah,
I like that. But yeah, so the Angel's depression funk and Wesley just beating it to Paul how lonely and pathetic he is now.
Yeah.
Which works for me because I have not found Wesley sympathetic for several episodes.
Well, I
kind of needed him to just be a complete wreck to get me back on board on a sympathetic level.
I didn't mind that they had the Fred scene.
I really like the Fred scene.
Yeah. I'm glad that they hammered the point to Wesley, like, yeah, you should have talked to us. Oh, and by the way, the prophecy was a total lie. Like, it's just another, like, rubbing him, like, beating him down even further.
Well, when she says that, I really like how Amy Acker delivers the lines, because she there's like this moment where she pauses and thinks, well, should I say this? And then she kind of says it to herself, because I think she's more frustrated at that point with the whole situation than she actually is with it. Like, I don't think that's the thing that destroys Wesley more than anything else, and I don't think that's her intention when she says the prophecy didn't exist and it was all for nothing. I think when she says it's all for nothing, she's just upset that he destroyed everything, and it's meaningless. Like, this whole suffering thing they're going through didn't even need to happen. And I don't think that when she says that's his fault, she is trying to hurt him. Or at least she wants him to know how she feels.
Yeah.
But when she says the prophecy was all for nothing, I don't think that is her intention to her. It's just that she's almost really, she's not even talking to him at that point. She's kind of just talking to herself out loud. And I guess she does want to let him know, because I think he really should know that the prophecy was meaningless. But that is the thing that destroys him more than anything else, and I don't think that's her intention.
Yeah. No, it was good. And it's bad that we have that scene where she is able to get emotional and kind of start breaking down a little bit, and then compare it to the breakup scene.
Mm-hmm.
The two spectrums and how false that one feels.
Yes. And
how true this one does.
Yeah. And what I really like, before we move on, is that when it starts off, Wesley is so, like, pleased that she's there, which kind of helps with the fact that I haven't been feeling sympathetic towards Wesley, because I imagine that he's, like, fantasized about her coming into his hospital bed and telling him that, it's all right, and I don't forgive you, and let's be together. And then she turns it around on him.
He seems very satisfied.
Yeah, he's very...
especially when she's like, I understand.
And he does that kind of, like, pompous hand thing, like, oh, stop. Please don't tell me how sorry you feel and how... Yeah, that really bothered me, just because of Wesley is a douche sort of thing, and then it comes home that, you're the reason you're here is it's your fault.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just... I think after this episode that I can't hate Wesley without seeming like a big fat jerk.
Yeah, I mean, the episode brings it home with the doctor. Is there anybody we can call or to come pick you up? Especially, it's like, I can't talk. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, actually, I really like the decision, which, I mean, obviously, it's medically implied or logically that he's a neck wound, so he can't talk, but I like that they make it so that Alexis Stanislav can't actually say anything, and all he's able to do is just talk with his body language and eyes, which I think he does a really excellent job with.
Right. And there's something really nice about, especially going back to that Fred scene, is that she can kind of vent and unload on him, and he can't do anything to rebuttal or...
Mm-hmm. He can't defend himself.
Exactly. He can't even justify himself in any kind of way.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help that she starts off by going, I understand why you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be his, like, go-to defense.
Yeah. And that's probably why she says she understands, because to give him the chance that she's not just attacking him, she understands, but he's still messed up.
Yeah.
We can move on from Wesley.
Okay.
Because there's more feedback about Wesley, and yeah. I think the only thing... I mean, we're going to get into the gun stuff in feedback as well, so I think the only thing to talk about is the thing that we both like, which is Angel and Cordelia and Angel trying to move on from Connor.
So, oh my god, Cordelia back in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love... Okay, we'll get to the Angel Cordelia stuff, but literally the gun in Cordelia's scene... Mm-hmm. Where she immediately picks up on something's wrong.
Yes.
Is exactly what would happen if she was around with Wesley.
Is what we've been saying all along, that Cordelia not being there, the entire Wesley situation would have played out differently. Because Gunn comes in the most obvious, I'm in a bad mood sort of thing, and if Cordelia wasn't there, everyone would just be in their own crap, because Fred's doing something else, and Gru is probably, I don't know what Gru's doing. Gru probably doesn't even know what he's doing. But Cordelia immediately zeroes in on it and is like, what's wrong with you? And even though she's wrong about why he's upset, she knows that he's upset.
Right.
And I do think that the addition of Cordelia back into the group does indirectly help the Gunn thing, where obviously I don't feel that Gunn's about to die or anything, or his soul is about to be taken, but it makes the threat of losing one of these people even greater, because Cordelia's back and we can see how the dynamic changes just with the addition of one person, and how the dynamic has changed with the subtraction of Wesley. And to lose Gunn would be even more dramatic to how that family would function. So I think that helps. Cordelia even helps the Gunn thing, which surprisingly, that's the one good thing I can say about the Gunn stuff, that it is Angel recognizing that he's not going to lose any more of his family.
Yeah, Cordelia also helps tie the two stories together, mm-hmm. with them talking about their futures, which I thought worked pretty well at keeping both storylines together, like making the episode feel more cohesive than just, here's the Gunn storyline, here's the Angel and Cordelia storyline.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about the Gunn thing, because I find it odd that Cordelia tells Gunn that him and Fred are like the only stable, wonderful couple that looks at each other like that, when she's just been on like a week vacation in Mexico with Gru. And she doesn't seem to include herself in that.
Well, throughout this episode, Cordelia doesn't really talk about herself at all. Mm-hmm. She is that kind of wise sage that's going around and
fixing everybody's crap, which is what she should have been doing for a week ago, but she was on vacation.
Hey, I have more problem with the fact that the powers haven't given her a vision in forever. Like, thanks, powers. You tell me that you're.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
was about to get kidnapped.
As I sound angry, I'm not actually angry, because it's a good thing that they sent Cordelia away, because otherwise,
this story
wouldn't play. This story played out at all.
Yeah,
I mean, they needed to send Cordelia away to make this work, and I'm not sure what the exact. I'm not sure if Chris McCarpenter actually got married during this time, so they gave her vacation time, but it is good that she was not around, because they would have had to really bend backwards, or it would just be a completely different story that Wesley doesn't tell anyone, because I could not believe that Cordelia wouldn't figure it out, that something's wrong with him.
Yeah.
And demand to know what's wrong.
And her inclusion at like the worst possible moment, like even Lorne leaves, mm-hmm. So it's like the family is broken and breaking up. Like, everyone's leaving, no one's really talking, and she's able to kind of put the pieces back together slowly.
Well, I like that she, not even talking about when she realizes that something's wrong with Gunn, but she comes in and she's not like 5 steps through the door when she knows something is wrong.
Yeah, she says, I brought presents, oh God, heartstrings, mm-hmm. and then immediately picks up that
something is wrong.
Yeah.
And I do like that we do not see her actually find out what happens The only thing we get is when she goes into Angel, because I think if you had a scene where Cordelia finds out everything that's going on, I think the whole episode then needs to be about Cordelia coming to terms with what just happened.
Yeah. I agree.
This is just she knows, and we can move on to the recovery, which is really is kind of necessary at this point.
I know, but part of me, I mean, I still, I don't know. I still would have loved to see how the character would have reacted. I'm still interested to ever see whenever Cordelia and Wesley ever interact again, because of them basically being like the starting three. And how she would react with him, but
there is something odd about Cordelia.
She's not emotionless, but she's being the strength of the group,
which I think is in character. But
absolutely.
I think I am slightly disappointed that we don't get her reaction to Wesley betraying them. Because I think that is necessary at some point, that we're going to need that, and I hope we get it. I understand why it's not in this episode, because it's not like she can bring... It is... Do not talk about it with Angel. Just don't. And I think at this point we can put to bed the theories of last week that Angel didn't want to kill Wesley. Because everyone in the episode seems to reinforce the point that if Angel sees Wesley again anytime soon, he will kill him.
He'll kill him for real.
For real this time. But yeah, so I'm more in the camp that Angel went in there to kill him in the most drawn out way possible, but he still went in there to kill him. And it was just that those orderlies were very, very strong.
Right. It would have helped if they had the two orderlies and Gunn.
If the two orderlies tried to grab him off and he punched them, and then that whole mass that just drags him out while he's screaming his head off.
Yeah.
Because those two orderlies grab him, and he's still struggling, but they've taken him off Wesley.
Right. Yeah. Getting back to Cordelia and Doubler for Nothing. I mean, you know what would have helped? I don't know. They didn't have a scene. No one got to cry. I've not seen anyone really cry or break down. It's just this is the whole grieving post.
Angel cries and Cordelia's crying in the beginning.
I mean, are they? It's so not devoid of emotion, but it's.
Well, that is as much as Angel is going to cry.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, he did cry. He did openly sob in when Darla died, or
kind of.
Well, it's raining, and the commentary said they didn't want to have Angel actually cry, but Angel's crying as far as
I just needed Angel to make Dawson Creek face.
Yeah, I'm okay with that not happening. Actually, I don't want to talk about in specific the I had a son scene until we get to feedback, but in that scene, I think there is at least one small single tear.
Right. I mean, there is something to him being completely drained of emotion, like being in this depression. Like, I totally get what's going on, but I didn't have any two characters kind of like breaking down in each other's arms, which that's not going to happen with Angel and Cordelia necessarily.
I mean, kind of in the
opening.
She is crying when she comes in.
And says, "I'm so sorry."
And he allows her to hug him. And I think really just what works for me is that Angel admits that they are a family when he wants to go save Gunn, which I feel is a very big moment for Angel. Because I don't think he's ever said that. At least not so openly.
Yeah. And that also, that moment in particular helped tie the episode together as well. And it hammers the point home. I mean, they were already family, and we already know all of this, but to have someone state it just is...
Well, it's an Angel stating it.
Yeah, there's something powerful about it. And it kind of... I mean, that scene, it kind of shows how much they've lost, but what they're still fighting for at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, having a collective we, like, helps spread the pain around, and I don't know, it kind of...
Well, I do think there's a collective pain.
Yeah, and it kind of...
no one's feeling it as strong as Angel.
Right.
But I do think that I don't want to, like, branch out who's hurting the most, but I think they're all hurting from Connor being gone. I think Gunn is probably adapting the best to Connor being gone, because I don't think that Gunn had a particularly close relationship with Connor.
Maybe, but it's also not that...
I mean, I think Gunn's relationship to the group is more with the other members of the family than Angel.
See, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because I keep going back to that old gang of mine, and then they immediately went away from that story element. But the thing is, we did see that moment whenever Gunn and Angel played hockey. Yeah. And how they did seem like a family there, how they did have that connection there. So
I think they have a connection. I think that Gunn's connection to the group is stronger. Obviously, his connection to the group is strongest with Fred.
Right.
And I think with Cordelia and Wesley, but now Wesley has been excommunicated. So I think that there's obviously connection with Angel, but I think that it's not as strong as the other members of the group. And I think that's why I find it so powerful when Angel says, we aren't going to lose another family member. And he's talking about Gunn.
Right.
Because it's a recognition of that we do have a bond. And I think it's also maybe that the fact that there's not... maybe it's not that they don't even necessarily like each other, but they love each other enough that they are a family. Might be something along those lines. But again, like you said, we haven't really gone back to the thing that was implied in that old gang of mine, that Gunn doesn't really trust Angel.
Right.
So I don't know. That could be just me pulling stuff out my butt.
Yeah. I do like that Gunn is damseled.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It doesn't make up for Fred turning into a bubbling mess because Gunn was mean to her, but it is a step.
No, but I do think that I do like the follow-up scene though. It like helps undo the bubbling mess with her explaining that he's actually in danger because he wouldn't have broken up with me. He didn't really break up with me, even though he broke up with me. Because of that
just bothered me because it showed that she is smart. That was Fred, and she was something took over Fred's body in the scene where Gunn breaks up with her. that just.
I mean, you can have emotion and be.
She can be upset that he's being. Okay, if we want to go, we're going back there. She can be upset that he is saying mean things to her, but she should still be like she is in the beginning. That no, I want you to tell me the truth right now, because when she says that. She's very angry, but she's also kind of on the verge of tears that she knows that he's lying to her. And that was fine. But then she just completely devolves into, I don't know what's going on, and she thinks there's another woman, and Gunn tells her she is, and she just stands there and takes it. That is my problem. Like, I don't have a problem with the fact that she gets emotional. I have a problem with the fact that she just concedes defeat almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, I mean, she's like, yes, I want you to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the real thing that breaks her in that moment is when she says, well, what's wrong with me? And that's when she becomes a
but
mess.
Why? Yeah, that is my problem, because they've never said that Fred has self-esteem problems. The problem that Fred has is connecting with the outside world. She's never thought of herself negatively. At least they've never shown that to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if someone you ultimately love, like
why
by the end of the episode. I don't know. I wanted to defend this episode. I actually enjoyed this episode.
I didn't say I didn't enjoy this episode. I just don't enjoy anything.
No, I actually don't like that scene.
I don't know why you're fighting me on it. Because you don't really disagree with me.
Not necessarily.
All right.
Is there anything else before feedback?
I don't think so.
Do you want to comment on the last Angel scene? I don't know if we'll actually get into it.
No, I don't think it's in feedback, but I do like that he dismantles the crypt.
I thought that imagery was very powerful.
I mean, I do like that we keep going back to the crypt, because I really like the empty crib in last episode, which I don't remember what it was called, but I liked it. And then that becomes the motif that is repeatedly visited, that Angel's just staring at that crib. Which, I'm glad that it's dismantled by the end of the episode, because it was kind of wearing its welcome as a... If Angel was still staring at that crib next episode, I think I might be done with that idea.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily... I think they used it just enough, and just to hammer that point home, and then him dismantling it, pretty moving. I mean, it was pretty depressing, but that life actually finally does move on.
Okay, we can move on to feedback now.
Speaking of, yeah.
All right. So, first up we have Kanam, who said, do I really need to say something about this mess? I know, okay, an attempt to come up with 3 things about Double or Nothing. 1, so what do you think of Cordelia's new hair? 2, and Fred, don't you dare tease us with he won't walk through that door comment, when you know dang well that Wes is still in the hospital since you visit him there later in the episode. 3, is the regoing head guy the grossest thing the show has given us so far, or is it the ridiculous reveal about Gunn's truck? Would pre-Angel Gunn really have made that deal? And we get it, Wesley is all alone. He gave it a 53 out of 100. So Kanam, not much of a fan.
No.
Cordelia's hair, though.
I mean, it's changed so many times. I
think there might be another one coming that is bad. But
that is bad? Okay.
That is like really weird, because the picture of Cordelia on the DVD cover has a very interesting hairstyle, and it's not quite this one. I don't have a problem with this one. I think they're about to change it, and that's the one I have a problem with.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that, though. Or I just remembered it being... Because this is fine. It's just a short cut.
Short and super blonde?
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of fits with the whole, like... I imagine Cordelia changing her hair like this if she's in Mexico for...
Well, yeah.
How long were they in Mexico?
I really think they were in Mexico for a week. Maybe 2.
Okay. I feel like 2 weeks.
About 4 of the 3 episodes happened... 3 of the 4 episodes... What did I say? It was 3 of the 4. They happened like back to back in the like same 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
Like, the last 3, I think, happened in 48 hours. And then who knows how long Angel's been in his staring at Connor's crib thing.
Yeah, the depression coma thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So probably, I'm gonna go a solid 2 weeks.
Sure, that's fine. I mean, Angel didn't give her that much money.
No, I guess it's
Guess it's a good thing Connor's gone, because he gave her a whole college fund to Cordelia. Anyway.
Glass half empty, or glass half full.
So the regrowing head guy. I did think that was gross.
I thought that was really impressive.
I did think it was also impressive. I find it less impressive that the demons that descend on him are not really going that hard. They're just half-heartedly punching him, but we're meant to believe that they rip him apart, which is what they do, but they can't show it. But just the staging of it, they kind of like, no.
Well, all they needed to do was not... I guess they were still impressed. They wanted to show off the regrowing head thing, so that they didn't want anyone like jumping in front of him. That's all they needed to do to make all those punches seem believable. Yeah,
but they kind of just awkwardly shuffle over there. What happens to the shark man, fish man, tentacle head?
I don't know. If he's just like a I mean, he got punched in the face. That was the last we saw of him.
That is like gun elbows him in the face and he goes down. So I guess that is it.
But I don't know.
Who cares?
I mean,
Genoff though looks like they repurposed the makeup of that demon who came. That was, I called an evil Doyle that after Doyle died, and I don't.
Oh, that demon.
Barney. Barney.
Yeah, Barney.
He looks like Barney, but slightly different. Like a little bit more horns. Like they had the Barney mask lying around, and they're just like, let's tweak this a bit, and it's a new demon.
Yeah, I don't know. His makeup was fine. I liked the regrowing head thing. The shark makeup was at least better than the random assortment of demons that we got in the casino.
Which I felt with like the red afro or very odd hair.
Yeah,
that one stood out to me.
That's the one that Angel gets in a chokehold?
Might be. I don't know. He was very odd looking, and obviously demons are odd looking, but he like stood out.
Well, the majority of them are just like, here's a red rubber mask, here's a yellow rubber mask in a suit.
Yeah.
But they had a couple of nice ones. Anyways, anything else?
No.
Next up we have Alicia, who says, Double or Nothing. The Good. I like Cordelia's all-white outfit, playing Gangster's Paradise. The lines, isn't Fred a guy's name? Charles, do you have leukemia? I see it all the time on the news. Let me get this straight. You and Gunn are dating? Well, not anymore, I guess. Favorite scene, Gunn bringing Fred breakfast in bed, and a rose was cute. Sad moments, poor Fred, poor Wesley. We didn't really talk about the breakfast in bed scene, but I actually did like the two of them. That seemed more natural than their best date ever, and obviously the breakup scene.
Well, yeah, because their best date ever is they go to a Dodgers game and somewhere else.
Lots of food. Well, I guess lots of food is in character, but I don't know. None of them have ever really expressed a desire in baseball, but yes, they do. Now, Gangster's Paradise. Here's my question to you. Was there a point where that song, because I'm going to disagree with Alicia that I think it was good, was there ever a point where that song was relevant or not a joke? Well, and it might be 2002. See, I'm not sure. It tied in with that one Michelle Pfeiffer movie.
What do you mean, Michelle Pfeiffer movie? I thought you were going to say Michelle Branch because that's where I was going with the Buffy. It doesn't work for me when Buffy or Angel uses actual like pop songs because it would have happened in the same time around season 6 of Buffy that they play "Goodbye to You" at the end of an episode, and I think it's just really cheesy in early 2000s because I don't. It feels like it feels dated when you use a pop song in a show like this.
Yeah, it's the movie I'm thinking of is Dangerous Minds. It's Michelle Pfeiffer. It's her being like a teacher in a low privileged.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
that's where the thing got its most popularity because it's even in like the music video for the song. But then immediately they had.
It's probably where that song originated. If it's not what it was most popular for.
But Al Yankovic doing the parody of it is pretty much what...
Just called an Al Yankovic.
Weird Al, fine.
Al Yankovic. What did Al Yankovic do?
Super.
No, I think the problem is now, removed from it, I think Gangster's Paradise has been used as a joke and a parody for things like that Michelle Pfeiffer movie. The thing that I'm most thinking of is there was a College Humor video that was like... it was the low privileged Hogwarts thing where Hermione went into an inner city wizard's school and they had a version of Gangster's Paradise that was about wizards. And that's what I think of when I hear Gangster's Paradise now. I think more about parodies than I do about the actual song, and I think Gunn walking in all serious the Gangster's Paradise is what just and that and the do-rag.
Yeah, I mean, they brought back the do-rag.
Of course, because it's his outfit.
So, how many years ago was it supposed to be taking place?
That's the other thing.
Okay, I think
it's supposed to be taking like 7 years ago, I believe.
7 years ago? See, I don't know if it necessarily lines up, but it might be trying to line up when that was a hit.
Okay.
Or
well, I was just thinking a Gunn's supposed to be 16 in that scene.
Well, he says that. Doesn't he say 17?
17. Oh, okay.
One more year older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, but...
So, again, I guess Cordelia is still the youngest person on the team. Because I thought Gunn was, but Fred and Gunn are both 24, 25.
Wow.
And Cordelia is 20? 21?
Yeah, so I don't know. It worked okay. I don't know if it was ever taken seriously. I don't think it's supposed to be funny in that moment.
I found it funny, and that's the problem.
I don't even care. Like, it doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me. Like, okay. Either way, if you want to read it as funny because he's back to do-rag Gunn and having the swagger as he walks into the casino, fine. If you think it's actually like him being badass walking in slow motion with the Gangster Paradise, that's fine for me too. I didn't have any emotion to the actual scene.
Okay. Because my emotion was mockery.
As far as terrible flashbacks, I mean, Angel and his wigs and bad accents. I don't know. I don't know if that's more unbelievable than this.
Those are more interesting. Anyway, we can move on to Kathleen, who said, Here we are again, another Gunn episode, another barely decent episode. Don't know what it is with the Angel writing staff when it comes to writing Gunn-centric episodes, but I've never connected to any of them. There are some good. Gunn and Fred's interactions through the first half of the episode, Cordy's return, and the way she sat with Angel whilst he started to deal with the loss of Connor, and Jenoff's demon guy that came to collect Gunn. He was pretty funny. The reveal that Gunn traded his soul for his truck was okay on first watch, but it feels like a very tired excuse on rewatch. Surely he could have asked for more than just a truck, but it does make sense that he made the deal for something that would help him save countless lives. The not so good. Gunn and Fred's argument. I know he was forcing the fight, but wow, was he mean to Fred. Gru bopping around trying to be helpful, but having no clue what to do. Angel's plan to take out Jenoff by playing a card game boring. Let's hope the next Gunn episode is better than what they've given us thus far. And I did want to mention that I think we should take Robin's comment next, too, because it focuses on the ending.
Okay, Robin says, I thought they botched the ending of the episode. Gunn is sort of embarrassed to admit it was just a truck he had sold his soul for. But the point of the truck was to allow him to fight vampires and save his community, right? That actually makes him Jesus-like, giving his life to save others, which is nothing to be embarrassed about. The real problem, though, is that the episode implies it will reveal something deep about Gunn, but it delivers nothing. It just goes over his well-established backstory and underlines his love for Fred. I wish they could have found ways to give him an extra layer or two.
Okay.
So, thank you guys.
Yes. So this is what I want to talk about. Is, again, going back to the backstory, that it's the one Gunn story that they can tell is the only Gunn story they've told so far, which is about his backstory. And I just find that very bizarre because it's not like every time we get a Cordelia-centric episode, we go back to who she was in high school, or we get a Wesley episode, it's all about him being a failed watcher, rogue demon hunter. They move forward from that. I would say that Fred, the only time we got a Fred-centric episode was about her time in Pylea, but that was fine because we had just met her. And that was Fredless. And
right.
Since then, I think they've moved the character on. But when we get a Gunn episode, the only thing they think they can do with him is just go back to who he was before he met Angel. And that wasn't a great character. But they keep trying to sell us on the idea that he had some kind of character. Or at all, really.
I don't mind them trying. I like the fact that Gunn all along, deep down, has been this good person.
Mm-hmm. But then there's also this shame of who he was from him and just in the episode in general that he was like, he keeps telling people he's not the same person.
Well, I didn't mind it because of how you're exploring, like, how you used to think as a kid and now how you think as a young adult.
That's not what I took it as. I took it as I have grown up from who I used to be. Because the other thing is that the thing they go back to Gunn was that he was an angry young guy who had a death wish and didn't see a future. Which I guess there is something to be embarrassed about that you can't see beyond your own self or whatever you're doing. But again, he was fighting demons on a daily basis, not like he was, I don't know, that he was selfish. He wasn't. He was kind of Jesus-like. And I don't know why there's such an attitude that Gunn wasn't a good person before he met Angel, and that Angel made him into a better person.
See, I don't necessarily agree. I took it more as just of his attitude, because how they tie it into looking at the future in the episode, that's how I took it. Like, his young self couldn't even fathom living another year because of how rough things were. He never knew that he would actually grow into becoming a man. So I actually kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. And that's kind of why I got more out of this than the previous Gun-centric episodes. But maybe I'm putting more of my own personal feelings onto it.
I mean, if you got that, you got that. That's whatever. But yeah. I don't think they did a great job with that. I think that might have been what they were trying to do, but I didn't feel that.
Right.
Do you want to talk about the truck?
I don't remember what I thought on first watch. I mean, I can get him being embarrassed about it because it is a physical thing. But then he literally kind of explains, like, yeah, this saved me and it saved a lot of other people.
It is weird to me that it is the truck and that this is the thing he sold. Like Fred saying your soul wasn't worth air conditioning. He couldn't... I don't know what to make of that. Is it that Gunn had such a negative opinion about himself and low self-esteem that he thought that all his soul was worth was this truck?
Like his life wasn't worth...
Yeah, it wasn't worth a thing that would have been more fancy truck that would still have saved their lives. Or, more obvious, really, is probably this is the only thing that they have lying around from Gunn's past and they wanted to do this episode. And it's going to be like... It would make more sense to me that if he sold his soul for his sister to make sure that she was protected. But they obviously can't do that because she's dead and a vampire.
Right. I do kind of equate it to his self-esteem, how he values his life, because he doesn't even
used to.
Right? Yeah, exactly. In that flashback, he even says, "What future?"
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't care. He does, and so I don't necessarily mind it being, wow, you traded your soul in for this kind of POS.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, okay. Fine.
I've
just admitted defeat. I'm not too out about this, but whatever. It just exists. And that's fine.
See, I feel like I'm like the other one. Well, I mean, we both enjoy that. I think we both enjoy this episode a little bit more than feedback does.
But you are more positive.
I'm definitely going to bat for this episode.
I think you are going to bat for this episode in the same way that I think I went to bat for Warzone and a little bit of that old Gang of Mine, which I didn't think were as terrible as people made them out to be. This one, I can't find anything good about it when it comes to Gunn. Other stuff, I'm happy to talk about that, but God, he's just not doing it for me.
I think part of it was that I went in thinking I was going to absolutely hate this.
Well, so did I, and I found out that I still did. I still hated the gun stuff, and I was surprised that I really enjoyed the other stuff, but I hated the gun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have 2 comments about one of the better moments, and I haven't done this in a while, but we did do it before, just because I haven't done it in a while, because people haven't commented on reblogging the gift sets with comments that I would find interesting to talk about, but 2 people did this time, and the first one was about the Fred visiting Wesley scene, and it was from Sarah R. McCabe, who said, "There's a part of me that will never completely forgive Fred for this scene. Wesley was doing what he had to do. He didn't come to them because he knew his life as he knew it was over as soon as he read that prophecy, and he didn't want to take anyone else he cared about down with him. Wesley didn't betray his friends. He saved them from going down the path they would all have to go down had they known about the prophecy. If any of them thought Angel was going to kill Connor, they would have came to the same conclusion as Wesley did, and about what had to be done." Sorry. So thank you, Sarah. So this is a different opinion than pretty much any we've come across, because I think we've agreed that Wesley should have said something, and there's been nobody in feedback who's disagreed with that idea.
Yeah, I mean, we both said that Wesley should have talked to them, and I think ultimately Wesley thinks that way now, but I think it is totally in his character. He is that character that acts for the greater good. I think that kind of ties into like his Watcher background, and I think there is something really interesting about this comment about how she puts it that like if he had talked to other people, they would have gotten dragged down with him too, because then it would have been everyone turning against Angel.
Yeah, I think if that was what they had that come across, but what comes across to me is that he just doesn't tell anybody because he's too wrapped up in his own stuff.
Well, yeah, the show isolates him really well. Like, he can't really talk to Fred because of what's going on with her and Gunn. Cordelia's gone. He doesn't really talk to the host, and when he does, he has to knock him out. And obviously, he can't talk to Angel. So I thought that they isolated him really well in the show to make his ultimate betrayal more believable. I don't know. It would have been really interesting if they had made a comment like this. I think,
like what? That he didn't want to drag them down?
Yes, that he was also trying to save them from having to do what it would take to save Angel and Connor. Like, I have what it takes, even though they're going to hate me for it. I think there is something kind of nice about that, and honestly a little sympathetic and self-sacrificing from Wesley, even though it's the wrong decision ultimately.
I don't know, because I think what I come back to it, and what I think Fred is most angry about, is that there's a really, I guess if he wasn't trying to drag him down, which I think that does explain some of the way, but I think she's just angry, not so much that he did what he did, but that he did it without telling anyone.
Right.
That no one, because he didn't consult with anyone, he just made this decision that was going to affect all of their lives for the worst, really. And if he had succeeded with his plan, they're always going to wonder why. Why did Wesley betray us? Why did Wesley take Connor? Assuming that Angel doesn't find them, because of course Angel's going to find them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's the secrecy that bothers me about it. I don't know. Secrecy just bothers me, just lying about stuff when you don't need to lie about it. And if it was that if it is explained that he wasn't trying to bring them down, I guess that could go a bit of a way, but I'm still just angry that he didn't tell anybody.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's one thing for him not to tell them. It's another thing entirely to go to Holtz.
Mm-hmm. That too. And it's not like what he's doing doesn't affect all of them.
Right.
Anyway, like, when he does this, it's going to be a problem. And it's not like keeping them out of it and not telling them makes things better. Because no matter what he does, they're all going to be involved.
Yeah. He's so rushed. Like, if they would have... Yeah, he's not very good with his plan. Because he could have at least... No. I mean, there's nothing he can do that will change what would ultimately happen, which is Angel, for the rest of his life, is trying to hunt him down.
Mm-hmm. Which I guess is kind of his plan anyway. Because I don't think Wesley really thought that he's going to get away scot-free. I think he would constantly be running with Connor.
Right, and he got pushed to the point of desperation because of Holtz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Holtz is going, I'm going to go in and kill everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't blame Fred for walking into that hospital room and giving him
the third degree.
Yeah, because I haven't been on... I've been empathetic, but I haven't been sympathetic to Wesley's side. But I find it interesting that people, at least one person was.
We'll go to bat for Wesley. I mean, I think I probably felt... I felt more sympathetic for Wesley on first watch.
Mm-hmm. Like,
I connected with him more over his situation with Fred and Gunn, and then...
Well, you find it interesting when a character gets put into a leader position that doesn't necessarily want to be in a leader position, and then they're kind of a douche like Cyclops.
Yeah.
And they
I find it interesting to have characters that are kind of focused on the greater good and are put in situations where they are cut off from the rest of the group, but still ultimately have to make these really difficult decisions. I think there is something kind of interesting about that. I do like how the show was able to have Angel be the leader of the group again. Mm-hmm. Just abruptly. We'll just kick Wesley out. Okay,
I guess he is. I mean, to be honest, he already was. But yeah, I guess Wesley is. I don't know. I don't get quite the same power structure now that was before season 2. I mean, it's really only one episode, so who knows?
Yeah, I know. I mean, the part of the thing is you have Cordelia bring everyone back up, mm-hmm. and we have Angel saying we're a family, which kind of like it shares the load and kind of makes them feel all kind of equal, but it is Angel ultimately going, this is what we're doing.
I mean, Angel is the head of the family.
Right.
Angel is Batman. And everybody else is Robin, Batgirl, and whoever else.
Who's Robin, Batgirl?
That's okay. So Fred's Oracle. Just gonna go with that because they both wear glasses sometimes, and I don't know, they have trauma in their past, and they are good with computers. Gunn is some kind of Robin, past Robin. I don't think he's Nightwing. Maybe he's Red Hood. No, Cordelia is Nightwing. Wesley, this is really dirty. Maybe Wesley's Red Hood now since he's been excommunicated.
Maybe, yeah, okay.
Nobody's Tim Drake.
Got Tim Drake. Well, who's Lord? Who's Lord?
Lord's Alfred. Yeah, Lord's Alfred.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I feel good about that.
I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, Lawrence Alfred, definitely. He's like one British accent away. He wasn't in a war, though. Alfred's always been in a war. Doesn't matter which one, but he's been in one. Yep, okay.
All right.
That's settled.
So, next up, is this...
Oh, so yeah, it's No One Can Know My Secret, which is the name of their blog. which is an Arrow reference.
Oh, well, there you go. About Angel talking about Connor. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite scenes, and just looking at these GIFs makes me want to tear up all over again. It's such a heartbreaking statement on how Angel has spent this eternal life of his alone in the drudgery of everyday life without purpose or meaning, and then to have, for just a moment, a glimpse into what is possible, what the human experience can offer, only to have it taken away. How do you live with that kind of loss? Are you grateful for the brief moment of joy or devastated by its loss? I love the way this was written. He doesn't have to spell out how he feels. In just a few elegant lines, we know the depths of his loneliness and despair.
All right. So, yep. These are both positive comments because I wanted to balance out the negativity of the rest of the feedback, really. Yeah. I really like those two moments. And I don't really know if there's much more to say about that scene. Other than what has been said here, but if there's, I do like that Cordelia figures out that he's when she finishes what he's talking about and says future, and then he kind of corrects her and says that he had a son. And I don't know, I just really like that, and I like that we've been picking up on this before, that Angel's worldview has changed with Connor, and just for him to come to that same kind of realization that people die all around him all the time, and that's probably why he doesn't get close. But now he had this thing this person that was so intimately connected with him, and now that's gone. It doesn't matter that Connor would outlive Connor. There's no way that he can't be close to his son.
Yeah.
I see a future there.
It's a really powerful moment, and especially him using the past tense.
Mm-hmm. It also shows that he's beginning to move on.
Right. And it was the most heartbreaking moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so than Cordelia first getting there, which, we talked earlier on the podcast, and how I had mentioned how I'm going to get wrecked whenever Cordelia shows up, but they skipped over her first actually getting to hear about it, which I didn't necessarily remember if she had a reaction or not. I didn't remember the nitty gritty, but having this moment with Angel, I think it was the closest we were going to get to him kind of really, truly breaking down, but him being kind of self-aware and talking about his life.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also like that it sets up the moment later when she tells him that I'm not going to tell you that losing Connor is ever going to go away for you.
Yeah.
That it's never going. She doesn't try to. They both understand that he's lost something and he's never going to get it back, ever.
Yeah.
And they just need to recognize that.
I found this. I'm spoiling my favorite moment. This is going to be my favorite moment. But
we're almost there, so you might as well.
But this episode came out at a weird time because I just watched this film called Grave of the Fireflies, which is an anime about war orphans in Japan in World War II. But serious film, really dark and depressing, but has some of the same themes about life and death and then things moving on afterwards. Mm-hmm. And so had this like emptiness going into the episode, where, because I had been crying my eyes out at this film, that I was kind of already in the mind space of Angel, that like I had experienced this traumatic event and I'd had this loss, and how do we start moving on? By watching an anime, oh my god, it's so powerful. Please go watch it, or don't, because it will destroy you. But that kind of experience, that kind of tragedy that happens, and then how do you move on from it? And how does life keep going on? So I like this moment in particular, and like you said, it builds up to the Cordelia scene after that really nicely.
Okay. So before we go on to my favorite moment, because you've already blown your load, we're going to move back to that old gag of mine, which works out nicely because someone commented on my review. And it was Lady Lavinia who said, "This episode left me feeling very uneasy about Mutant Enemy's attitude towards the Charles Gunn character. The Season 2 episode Blood Money established that Charles, Wesley, and Cordelia established a new Angel Investigations agency. They are basically partners. Yet in this episode, Wes threatened to fire Charles if the latter ever held back something or subvert him again. Wes treated Charles like an employee, a minion, and Joss Whedon allowed screenwriter Tim Minear to get away with this. This really disturbed me. How does Charles go from an equal partner to an employee of the new Angel Investigations?" So, this is a point that neither of us caught. That I do think is a bit of a problem, but I actually don't want to lay it at Tim Minear's feet and say that it's his fault for putting on this episode. I think it just goes back to Wesley becoming the leader.
Yeah, and how he reacts in that position.
Well, no, I think it just goes back to Wesley. The idea that Wesley is the leader and that they're not all co-leaders, that Wesley becomes the new boss.
Yeah.
I think that's what it goes back to. Because I don't think this is a problem with that old gang of mine in particular. I think it's a problem with the new power structure that Wesley becomes a leader and Cordelia and Gunn are subservient to him.
I can definitely see there being an issue there, and obviously I'm not going to defend that old gang of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I like Wes threatening Gunn because it speaks more about Wes's attitude in that position as being the leader and how he handles things. It's not right.
I think that's kind of the dark point. I don't think we're necessarily supposed to be on Wesley's side. Like, yeah, you get him.
No, yeah, exactly.
I think what we're supposed to take from that is that he has a darkness. Yeah, he has a darkness, and he's somewhat out of line when he tells Gunn that if you try to subvert me again, I will fire you. Like, he will take matters into his own hands. Like, he's kind of unstable. Or it's really just setting up that what he does later in the season, that he goes behind everyone's back and takes care of this Connor situation. Like, Wesley takes matters into his own hands and he takes responsibility for everyone. And he thinks what he's doing is best for everyone.
Right.
So I don't think it's, or I'm sorry, we're just talking over each other. But I don't think it is necessarily that there's other problems that Angel the show has with Gunn as a character, and we've talked about them. But in this moment, I think we're actually supposed to be on Gunn's side a bit.
What would have helped, I think, in that moment, it can't really happen this way, but if you had seen a look from Gunn where he kind of gives him this, like, if he had given him a look of, like, that's out of line, but he can't because he had just kind of betrayed the group a little bit. Or not a little bit, but he had.
Yeah.
So
I do remember that when we talked about the episode that we weren't, I don't know if we really were on Gunn's side. That we were more just surprised that Wesley had that in him.
Yeah.
Or we acted surprised because, we remembered. But, no, so I think there are problems with Gunn and the way that they write him. But I don't see, it is a good point, but I think looking back on it now with perspective of what we can say about what Wesley does, I think that's the first kind of moment that they hint there's something wrong with the way Wesley views his position of leadership. That it really is. He tries to be Angel, and he ends up kind of becoming Angel at the end of season when he betrayed them by taking everything onto himself, and he can't be Angel.
Angel couldn't even do it by himself.
Yeah,
right?
Angel realized that I can't do this by myself, and Wesley makes the same mistake. That he's going to make decisions for everyone else, and that it's more of a dictatorship than it is it's a democracy. Like, he's in charge. And that doesn't work out for this group.
Ever.
So, I mean, and that goes back to, I guess we have to keep it on, because what did Angel learn at the end of season 2? Did he learn that he can't, now that he's a leader, did he learn that he can't make decisions for everyone else, or did he just learn that he can't be alone?
Kind of both.
Well, I think we can say he learned not to be alone, but I would be interested moving forward if he falls back into that same pattern.
I think it's in his character that he still will go in headstrong and be like, "This is the plan, even if it's wrong." Because the group does need that to some extent, to have someone.
Well, he kind of does it in this episode.
Exactly. You need
but I guess Cordelia they have a silent understanding about what the real plan is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like that too. Like, as long as there's balance in the group, you can still have the one person that rallies the troops or whatever.
Okay. No, I do think they need a leader, but there is a difference between being a leader and threatening the people underneath you the way Wesley and Gunn, or just making decisions for the entire group because you feel that you have the best interest in mind, like countless decisions Angel made in season 1.
Yeah, that too. I think what Leigh Lavina's comment really does do a good job of is just kind of show how they've kind of failed at developing Gunn necessarily. Yeah, especially in these kinds of moments.
Yeah, as a partner, because I think that's probably why we didn't pick up on that they were partners, and it kind of just seemed that Gunn was underneath Wesley and Wesley was the leader and Gunn was an employee and a minion, because that's the way that Angel as a show kind of treats Gunn as a second-tier character.
Right. I'm not sure what episode it is, but they had Wesley in a similar position when he had the hand wafting thing, where he was talking about Fred and Gunn's relationship.
Yeah, when he leave me to brood.
Yes, where he was acting very similarly, but still in that dark kind of manner. And I liked in that moment because we had Gunn finally like, that's none of your business.
Yeah, Gunn. He talking about Gunn about basically like what are you doing with what are your intentions with Fred, and just like quote unquote looking out for her, but just trying to exert power over Gunn as the boss. That he's concerned about how their dating is going to reflect what they do. But really, it's just kind of like, I'm flexing my muscles a bit, and now leave me to my brooding chambers because I'm going to go steal baby.
Yeah. So, it's good to have that perspective looking back, because we got to see the transition of Wes's character to basically he turns into that guy that they all exerts his power.
That they all were upset. He turns into the guy that is the reason that there was a New Angel Investigations formed.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they kick him out of the New Angel Investigations because he's become that guy.
Yes.
So that is a nice kind of symmetry there. Wesley, just the stupidity on Wesley's part that he'd think, well, I guess again Wesley was planning on leaving and never coming back.
Yeah, that's true.
So he didn't really care if he burned that bridge. I mean, he cared that he burned that bridge, but not...
He didn't expect...
He knew he was burning the bridge.
Yeah. He just didn't think he'd have to deal with the fallout.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. Well, I already spoiled my favorite.
So my favorite moment, and we've already talked about it at length, really, because I kind of spoiled it myself is Cordelia coming in to Angel and just telling him that she's so sorry, and that they have that moment of physical connection where he lets her, because I think when she hugs him, that's more for her than it is to comfort him. Because I don't think Angel's big on physical connections and comfort.
I don't think he wants comfort.
Yeah. I don't think he wants it from Cordelia, especially how he feels about her, because that'd be too tempting. So I think the fact that what works for me in that moment is not so much. Actually, I think that is where Angel has one single tear falling down his face as well, or maybe just that is the scene where he's crying. But the reason that scene works for me is that that's what we get of Cordelia reacting to everything that's happened, and she doesn't need to have a big dramatic scene about it. That she finds out, and this is just kind of, she's still reeling from it, and she goes to Angel to comfort him, but also to comfort herself, and that's all we get, really, of Cordelia dealing with it. And then she just goes into mother hen mode of making sure that everyone else is okay. I think that's how she copes with it, and I just really like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I also like, even though it's not that moment, where Angel's in that charred bed and she tells him that she's just going to sit here. And if you want to talk, we can talk, but I'm just going to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. I will be interested. I am still kind of sad that we didn't get to see her deeper emotion in regards to losing Connor.
I really want to find out how she feels about Wesley.
Yeah, that too. Which is interesting. I'm glad there are still threads to pull on.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't know, I guess you would have to, it's weird because I guess she would have to go and have a Fred-like scene, and I don't think they could really do that because that's just overkill. If Cordelia goes to Wesley and says how she feels. So I'm not sure, and I don't remember if we do get it, but I would like it because somehow that relationship's been a bit lost, the Fred and Cordelia one. I mean, not Fred and Cordelia and Wesley and Cordelia one.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that since them going to the opera.
I don't think I guess so, that since then, but I was thinking we really haven't seen it since they started adding more people to the group, really. That relationship's kind of fallen. Yeah,
I mean, it certainly has by adding more people, but at least we saw them interact in that episode.
That is true. And I like that in this episode, she recognizes that she was wrong about that.
Is that, did you take that as more of a comment with, like, as an audience?
I don't know.
I don't know if they were trying to make that kind of...
I don't know where the Wesley is in love with Fred thing comes from. I don't know. Because it feels completely manufactured for the show. And if it was a fan opinion that those two should be together, then okay. But I don't know. Because that has not worked for me once. Since it's introduced.
I didn't... It was obviously rushed when they introduced it, because you're like, well, where did this come from? Mm-hmm. But I still don't...
The fact that they're two single white people that are both attractive and...
Intelligent
and
so why wouldn't they like each other? Yeah. Or why wouldn't Wes like Fred?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
That's the only reason.
Like, who else is he going to go after? Cordelia? Oh, wait, he already did that?
No, that is true. I was thinking more on the Fred side, that why...
Oh, why would Fred go for Wes? Yeah, I don't know. That's fine. Like, how things actually end up playing out works for me. But, like, I've never had a problem with Wes having feelings for Fred.
Okay, sure. What I was responding to is Cordelia thinking that Fred is meant to be that they were meant to be together when it was really Fred and Gunn. Like, it was a surprise that she picked Gunn, and I'm not sure why that was surprising.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That's all. I don't know if that was a reaction. It might have been. I don't know. Because, again, the whole Fred Wesley thing has just been utterly confusing to me.
Yeah. So for scores, I ended up giving this 70 out of 100. Now, obviously, I maybe I just went into it in the right state of mind, but I definitely liked this more than last week's episode, and I picked up on, like, I liked the themes that they were exploring. Obviously, all the Angel and Cordelia scenes were great, and the grieving process and moving on. And I liked the Gunn storyline. I thought that they tied it in with the Angel and Cordelia, or the Angel's outlook on the future really well. And I just had fun. Like, the show was able itself to kind of breathe this sigh of relief that, yes, we can still have laughter. I still cracked up whenever Angel chopped that guy's head off. A three, and then chopped his head off. I thought it was really funny. So yeah, I ended up enjoying it quite a bit.
Okay. All right, my score's gone down in the course of the conversation because I've just thought about all the things I didn't like. Because in my review, I was when you'll read it, I get real ranty in the bad because I just latched on to the things I don't like in the Gunn stuff. But the things I really like in this episode. And I do think that the things I like are much better than last week. But I really hate the Gunn story. And I think it's just a failure from not beginning to end, but like the middle to the end. And I don't think it's like a terrible episode for Gunn because it doesn't damage his character in any way. They don't do anything with Gunn to affect my opinion of him. But again, they don't do anything with Gunn. And this is supposed to be his episode, and since this is a Gunn episode and I don't like the Gunn story, I ended up giving it a 58.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's quite the mess that feedback calls it. Just the episode in general. I think the Gunn story is a mess. But yeah, so 58, whatever.
It makes sense. I mean, if you feel like, and that is half the episode.
Yeah.
So, all right. And if you'd like to leave us some feedback, you can do so by commenting on the post at theangelrewatch.wordpress.com.
Or you can send an email to angelrewatch@gmail.com.
Or you can call our voicemail number at 206-203-3276.
Or you can go to the Tumblr, which is angelrewatch.tumblr.com, to see all the reviews archived there and the guest supported our episode we're watching that week.
We're available on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. While you're there, leave us a review. It really helps promote the show. You can follow me on Twitter at NerdGuyWilliam.
You can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr at The Confortador.
And next time, we're reviewing The Price, where Angel's hotel is infested by demonic slugs created by the spell he used to alter Saja.